Right, I think I've got that sorted out now. Now, most of our focus will be on using Slooh's telescopes and the different projects that everyone can use them for. And it really doesn't matter whether that's creating wonderful collections of astronomical images, maybe some science, maybe like monitoring comets or tracking near-Earth asteroids, or maybe even replicating some of the most amazing astronomical discoveries down the ages. Or maybe you just want to gaze up at the night sky through Slooh's telescopes in our little sanctuary alongside others around the world in awe and wonder. Now, if you have just happened to be surfing the site and suddenly started hearing my dulcet tones, just as I did in my own ears, only a little bit of a delay, then you will have noticed that we have a new audio feature. And this is allowing our hosts and our experts to narrate across the entire site when they're on a live cast. Now, some of our courses and live casts will be audio only, but when we want to show you something like I am tonight, you can still watch the live video in the Situation Room. So to do that, if you're new around here, you can go down to live casts. In fact, if you're on the website and you can't see this and you can't see what I'm doing, but just go to the left-hand navigation where it says live cast and then hop up to the Space Situation Room. And that's where you can watch my entire screen grab today. Now, what are we going to cover? Well, we're going to take it off in little bite-sized pieces tonight. And tonight we're really going to focus on some of the basics. We're going to take a quick tour of the Slooh website so you know the lay of the land, and who knows, I reckon we might uncover some features you haven't seen before, because there's just so much cool stuff to do. You can find yourself down little rabbit holes. Anyway, we're also going to talk through just how simple it is to use the telescopes, and for anyone new to astronomy, it can be a bit daunting, and I think you're going to be surprised at just how easy it is to control Slooh's telescopes. And then we're going to delve into the area called My Pictures. That's where all your amazing images are stored. We'll look at how to navigate through the various options, how you can create galleries, which is a fairly new feature to organize and share your images, and how to download your images too. Now, by the way, if you have any questions for me about anything we cover, just post them to the discussions forum for this course, and I'll answer them at the end of the session or post replies later. Now, I'm just going to hop over there now because I want to show you to make sure you know where to go. So I went to the community tab, I went to discussions, and here we are. And practical astronomy, you guys are leaving me hanging. I want some questions in here, please, before the end of the night. Although perhaps if you don't have any questions by the end of the show, I may have done my job properly. Anyway, what are we going to look at first? Let's check observatory conditions, I think, because I've set up some missions of a very special object, which is going to be seen. We'll be able to see it in about 5 minutes' time. It's scheduled for 10 minutes past the hour. And the Canary Islands Observatory has just opened. I'm here in the UK, so it's the same time actually as in the Canary Islands. It's 8 p.m. here, so we're under darkness. And I'll tell you, we have got some pretty cool conditions. So I'm just going to hop over. I think I'll go to the Canary 1 telescope page. We're going to go into all of this in more detail later. Ooh, cool image. Pleiades star cluster. Like it. Thank you very much. Have more of that. Now then, down here in the bottom, this is where you can monitor the sky conditions. So there we can see the day-night bar. This is showing that little red dot is the Canary Islands Observatory off the west coast of Africa. And you can see that it's in darkness at the moment. Hop down to South America and you can see the little red dot that denotes our Chile Southern Hemisphere Observatory. And you can see it's still daytime down there. Now then, the cameras I want to point out to you is this one here, the all-sky camera. Click on this, and this is a special, wow, that is a really, really good night. We can see the Milky Way stretching across the sky there. So this is our special low light camera that looks at the entire sky above the domes. And the white things you can see with some of the red lights on, those are the telescope domes, which are operating right now and in a few minutes time are going to be capturing this very special object. At the top of that all sky image, you can just about make out the Milky Way kind of arching its way totally across the sky. And just there in the east, which is to the left of this image, you can see the very familiar constellation of Orion, and it's just rising. Now then, let's have a look. The dome cam will be offline. That shows us a picture of the domes during the day. Make sure everything's okay. And this horizon cam, if you haven't seen this one before, take a look at it during daylight, because this is right up on Pico del Teide, which is the volcanic cone, which is at 10,000 foot altitude. It's an enormous volcano, and the observatory is 2,000 feet below that at 8,000 feet, so it's still fairly high. And it's just down on the left of this particular image. And during the day, you can see the clouds move, you can see the sun moving across the sky. But here we can see the nighttime view, so it's a little bit noisy, but we can see some of the brightest stars there. But anyway, listen, we have got a cracking night here in the Canary Islands. So if you haven't done so already, if you don't know how to schedule the telescopes, I'm going to show you all of that. Let's just hop back though for the time being to the home page. In fact, just before we do that, before we go on our little navigation, I am going to show you very, very quickly just how easy it is to schedule a mission to control the telescopes. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the telescope navigation bar. We're going to go over all this layout in a second, but I'm going to go to the telescope navigation item, and I'm going to go to reserve telescopes, the very top thing. And here we can see a page, and you can see here what's highlighted here is Slooh recommends. Now these are some of the best and most interesting targets to capture in the night sky. So we choose these every few days to make sure that you're always getting the very best. And all you have to do is press the make reservation button. And hey presto, let's do it on Castor. So this is one of the two twins, a very bright star in the constellation of Gemini. There's the make reservation button. I press it, up comes a little confirmation box. You're reserving the Canary 2 telescope. This is a great telescope for stars, gives us some great color in the stars. It tells us we're going to be reserving Pollux, a Gemini twin, and there's the time, Friday. It's going to happen tonight. It's going to happen in around, what's that, bit over 3 hours time. Now I can add some text in here if I like, but you don't even have to do this. And then just press absolutely, and there you go. We have scheduled your mission to Pollux, the Gemini twin. Tells you all the date and time again there. Got it, thanks. That is how simple it is to control Slooh's telescopes. Now there's always loads more objects down here that we're recommending at any one time. We see Castor there, another of the Gemini twins, open star cluster M35 in Gemini, and one of my favorite objects of the night sky altogether, the Eskimo Nebula. That looks just like an Eskimo's parka. A couple of southern hemisphere objects in there as well, the Tarantula Nebula, and you can go over some of those yourself. So that was on the telescope reserve telescopes page. That is how simple it is to control the Slooh telescopes. Now let me catch up a little bit. You can watch the live views on the telescope pages of that particular mission, but if that's not convenient, all of the images from your mission are going to be automatically saved in your My Pictures area, and we're going to look at that a little bit later. We'll also look at the other ways you can set up missions, but for now let's take a quick tour of Slooh's website. By the way, please, in fact it's now, we have to go off. No one reminded me. Right, telescopes. Canary 1, you can see it in the screen share that I'm giving you here. Oh dear, that's been a bit wind blown. Let's hop over to Canary 2. I'm going to show you how to do all this later. Sorry it's a rush, but we have got a very special object now appearing in this image. It's going to be, it hopefully will look like a slightly fuzzy star. So if you're on the telescope page yourself at the moment, make sure you snap an image. And I can see one star that's very close to the center of that field that doesn't look quite as sharp as the other. And what this is, it's a possible outburst. And this was reported on the Minor Planet mailing list this morning, and a couple of members alerted all of the other members this morning about it over in the discussion boards. Now, this object, it was discovered in the year 2000, I think, and it was classified as what's called a Centaur minor planet. But in December 2005, a cometary coma was observed. That's the kind of atmosphere that builds up around the nucleus of a comet, called a coma. And in 2006, it was officially designated as a comet, and they gave it the name 174P Eclipse. Eclipse, I think. Anyway, you'll know it. You'll know it. It's look, it's up there on the screen. You can read it. Eclipse. There you go. But it's also retains this designation as a Centaur asteroid. So which one is it? Snap your images and make sure that you capture those. I think we've got it in some of the other telescopes as well. Let's take a look at the Canary ultra wide field. Oh, that's really noisy at the moment, so we're not going to spot it in there, but Canary 2, that's looking quite good. Now then, let me catch up. I didn't want to miss that one. Let's go up. Where are we going to start out? Right, I guess we'll start back at the home page. Now, the layout, first of all, we've already seen a little bit of that, but we've got this information bar at the top, and you can see our new audio controller, that thing that says live practical astronomy with Paul Cox. Join the live cast now in the sit room. So you can hear this wherever you're on the site, but if you want to see my screen share as we go through this, then go off to the situation room. You can also see the countdown to the next show. So this one is stuck on my show at the moment, but as soon as I'm finished, you're going to see a countdown to Dr. Paige Godfrey's intro to astronomy course. She's going to rebroadcast a show from the other day tonight in about 4.5 hours, something like that. So keep your eyes open on that status bar, and of course it tells you, that top bar tells you if you're logged in or not. Down the left hand side now, this is our navigation pane. So if you ever get lost, you want to get back home, just hit the home button. We've already seen some of the telescope options, but we're going to go through all of those in a little bit more detail. Livecast, community, illumination, settings, membership, and about. I'm going to explain all of those a little bit later. But what we're showing in the main part of the page, the top part, this black bit with my name in it and my little profile icon, it's got some other info in there as well. It's telling us that I've got 7,927 pictures. Now, I'll tell you a little secret. I've got a number of accounts because I'm Slooh Tech as well, and I've got over 10,000 images in that one. But in this account that I first joined Slooh in 2004, I have made 1,846 reservations, and we've got our new gravity point system as well, and my rank there as well. And there's a post by Slooh's founder Michael Palucci in the discussion boards that will tell you all about the new gravity board. Now, there is lots more planned for this dashboard view. I know the development team are working on it at the moment, but come a little bit further down. The next panel is showing you our upcoming major event, and this is December 13th. This is my favorite meteor shower of the entire year, the Geminids meteor shower. And the moon isn't going to really have any effect on this year. It really should be quite a spectacular evening, so I hope you join us for that. And you can click on that and you can learn more about the event and stuff like that, and you can use the scroll bars and go through the others. This next panel down on the home page is one that I got so excited about when we first launched this a couple of weeks ago. It's our member photo timeline, and any member, whenever you joined, you can share. We're going to show you how to do that a little bit later. Oh, look at that. Share with the world on Slooh's homepage your very best images and you can hop back through the years along the timeline down the bottom. That's a pretty cool one. That's the Tarantula Nebulae from the Chile Observatory. All waning gibbous moon. The moon has been looking absolutely brilliant this week. But if you haven't yet submitted any of your own Slooh images to the member photo timeline, then I'll show you a little bit later. Please do, because we want to fill in all of the gaps. And don't forget to make sure that you like any of those that you see to build up a few gravity points. Now let's hop down, learn to track comet. This is just a little panel where we're featuring informational videos or things that we just want to draw your attention to. And that was a fabulous show that we did with member Christina Feliciano. And Christina manages the CATS Comet Group, a group of members who monitor those mysterious objects, comets. And we'll see another video in there over the weekend. Then we come further down, so we're still on the home page. We come to our illuminations panel, and this at the moment you can see is all about the constellation of Gemini and the Geminids. Now I'm going to be talking more about illuminations later on, but you can see here that we've got our 4 different Slooh perspectives. Our illumination perspectives. We've got science log, we've got culture, we've got human spirit. So whatever it is that draws you to learning about space, we've got you covered. Now let's hop down the page a little bit more. Currently featured objects. Now this comes from our Slooh recommend objects, but it's just a different way of seeing those. And also we're trying to link all of this content up. Now, what have we got now? Do excuse me if you're seeing any pop-ups here. I'm just going to close another window down. So, there's our network of partners there, our trusted partners and our valued partners there. And we have our Slooh store down there. Now, somebody mentioned to me the other day, Paul, why are you still selling Eclipse glasses? Well, you can use those solar eclipse glasses any day of the week. It doesn't have to be an eclipse to be able to enjoy a safe view of the sun, and those things are really comfortable. And of course, coming up to Chrissy time, I shouldn't really be doing a sales promo here, but don't forget our book, The Saturn Above It, which is an anthology of space-inspired stories, so that's pretty nice. We've got Slooh's dedication down there, which is always important to us, but also this is something right down at the bottom of the page which a lot of members miss. We've put all of the best links to some of the best and most exciting material across the website. So you can go direct to the telescopes from here. You can go to basically all of the important pages direct from this footer, because there's a lot of information at Slooh, so it's fairly easy to get lost. So have a peruse through that, because that might give you a few ideas. So that's just the general kind of layout of our homepage. But let's see where else we're going to go. So let's hop down, I think, on this left-hand navigation bar. Don't forget, we're going to be looking in more detail about how to control the telescopes later. We're also going to be taking a look at how you can manage all of your images using My Pictures. But I need to kind of kick on a little bit here. So we're going to quickly go through this left-hand navigation bar. We're going to come to telescopes later, but if you click on Livecast, you can go direct to the Space Situation Room. That's the place where this video is playing at the moment. And by the way, when you're watching a Slooh show, don't forget that you can go to these tabs down at the bottom and you can see all of the different telescope feeds while we're on air. And that also means, Triangulum Galaxy, never ever miss an opportunity to snap a picture of that. Triangulum Galaxy looks a little bit wind-blown to me, that one. The wind's blowing the telescopes a bit. There you go. I've just snapped an image of that while I'm showing you that. That's the Space Situation Room. What else have we got under Livecast? You can browse the Livecast. Now, this is a really cool feature. And a lot of members, they can't necessarily watch a show when it's on, or watch maybe Dr. Godfrey's astronomy course when it's live, might not be convenient for them. So you can come here, you can see all of the recent live casts we've done, some of those that we're highlighting because we're really proud of them, and also you can view the upcoming ones. So here you go. Practical Astronomy with Paul Cox. Those are all the Messier objects on that thumbnail. What do you think of that? All taken with the Slooh telescope. I'm going to talk more about that later. Dr. Godfrey's Intro to Astronomy, that is later on tonight. Then Sunday night, you've got Gemini, Celestial Twins. That one's with Helen Avery. And then next we've also got All That Glitters. So this is where you can come and watch watch some of our old shows, some of our archive shows, but also get some good warning of what's coming up. What else have we got here? Under Livecast, you can go directly to one of these shows, to one of their pages. So if we go down here on Dr. Godfrey's Intro to Astronomy, it takes us to the Livecast page, and this just gives you a little bit more information in here about the show. It even gives us a little link here to where you can ask Paige questions for her show tonight. So make sure you check that out. That's over in discussions. So anyway, that gives you a fairly broad idea of what's under Livecast. So what have we got next? Well, we've got community, and those of you who are familiar with Slooh will know that our community is one of the best things about Slooh. It always has been for 14 years. It's such a marvelous place to be, and astronomy can be such an incredibly daunting subject to get into. But every member of Slooh that I've met still remember that when they're giving advice and guidance to those who are just starting out. So you won't be flamed or trolled if you ask a question that's been asked before. You'll just have a load of people who remember how daunting it was when they started out, and they will hold your hand throughout your personal journey of exploration and learning. So that's really kind of what we do. We learn together to explore space, and it's so much fun. So much more fun doing it with other people than doing it alone. Astronomy can be a bit of a lonely hobby when you're sitting out in your own backyard and the family's not interested. Anyway, what else have we got under the community tab in the left hand side? Well, we've got discussions. So here we go. We can hop over to discussions, and this really is this is where members hang out. It's a little bit like a water cooler, and we hang out to share information. I wouldn't have known about that potential cometary outburst tonight if it hadn't been for the post from Tony Evans and Bernd this morning about this report of a potential outburst of that comet. But it's also where people can share their knowledge and experience as well. I know a lot of the astro imagers, so people who like to process their own images, they're always sharing some great information. We've got Juan Jose, we've got Dave, we've got David Malik as well. They really are a fountain of knowledge and advice. But you can go through, we feature some threads if we want to draw attention to them. We've also got our most recent, so this just shows you across the entire site. Oh, hello, Cooper. Let's take a quick look, see what Cooper's asked. Somebody else, Maynard, is posting about 3200 Phaethon. I got some interesting news for you a little bit later if you're interested in catching that but don't know how to set up a mission. Let's hop over to this question. Oh, what do RA and DEC stand for? RA is right ascension, and that is like longitude on the celestial sphere, so it's the equivalent of longitude on the Earth sphere, and declination is like latitude. So it's sky coordinates, Cooper, in the sky. So anyway, I'll answer you a bit more if that didn't make sense. But anyway, let's take a look further. So you can kind of see where discussions is. I need to crack on properly. So let's hop back to the community sidebar, see what else we've got up here. Current events. So really the rest of the links on here are links to specific forums or threads and topics in the discussion boards. There is one here that I will draw your attention to, which is Astro Calendar. And there's a post, this is a thread in the discussion boards, and what this has is Slooh's Astro Event Calendar. And it doesn't just include our live shows, although it does. You can see there today, there's the entry for today's live show, and we've got one later as well. But it also shows you some great things that you can see outside in your own backyard. So take a look at that. So, and we'll often update these links to some of the most interesting or in the news items. Now let's hop down to another of my favorite areas of Slooh. Now I want to warn you, Slooh illuminations can become a delightful rabbit hole where you can become lost for hours absorbing the collective writings from superb members and writers sharing their wonder of space. Now, it's all inspired by the night sky and its wonders, and you can choose an object or an event to explore. You can see here in this list. You could even submit, by the way, your own story, whether it's an ancient or original tale or personal narrative, or maybe even a sonnet. Why not give it a go? But we also in here, because there is such a lot in illuminations, we also have a best of illumination. So this is where our top writers appear in here. And actually, we'll go back to that. Yeah, my name appears in here, so there must be a bug in the website. There's no way that I am worthy of appearing amongst those other luminaries on that page. But here you go. So here's the best of illuminations for December, and you can scroll through. And once again, they're all marked with their specific perspective on space. So we've got human spirit there, we've got science log, arts and cultures, some DIY in there as well. But I do warn you, it is a rabbit hole. You might be lost for days. Your family will wonder where you are. We also have in here featured objects down here as well. So if something's in the news, like the Geminid meteor shower, we add it into here. And what it does is it gives us all of the illumination articles and posts about that particular subject. And you can go into those, and this is talking about that very object that I got some news about later. Phaethon. Whoa. And that's Helen Avery actually writing about Phaethon's fiery fate. Look, I've gone down the rabbit hole already. That was only published in August. That's pretty cool. Right, what else are we going on to? Now then, we are going to hop down, because I'm going to get to the live telescopes and various ways of setting up your missions and controlling the telescopes. But let's take a quick look at what settings does. Now, this is an area where we've got lots and lots of plan changes. Now in dashboard especially, this is where you can set your own avatar, find the best photo of you when you were about 25, something like that. That's what I always do, and then stick it in there. It shows us all of our recent and upcoming missions as well down here. But the Slooh development team are working hard on a whole bunch of other content to add into your dashboard. What else is under settings? Well, you can go to your account settings, just tells you all the information about your account. You can also reset your password there as well. And I think there was one other item in here. Sorry, settings and reset password. So you can actually go to a specific page to reset your password as well. So that's fairly simple, but there is an awful lot more that we're going to be putting in that particular area. So that was settings. We're now hopping down to membership. So if you need to see the differences between the different types of membership, you'll find everything you need right there. And if you're currently signed up as Slooh Crew, which is our free tier of membership, then we need your support, specifically your support. So why don't you sign up for an apprentice or astronomer member? Maybe you've been holding off because you thought it was more complicated. I'm about to show you just how simple it is to control these mighty telescopes on top of a volcano. So please consider signing up for an apprentice or astronomer membership so you can control the telescope, enjoy those additional features, and also join some of our courses that are going to be for apprentice and astronomer members only. But most of all, you'll be helping to support our mission and keep the Slooh website, a kind of little sanctuary among the plethora of clickbait, advertising, and generally what I find pretty intrusive experience that the web has now become. But anyway, that's me off my high horse, but please, we need your support, so please come over. Now, you may have noticed a couple of new items in this membership tag. If you know a student, if you are a student, if you're a parent or grandparent of a student, or you know a student, or you were once a student, tell schools, colleges, teachers, homeschoolers about the Slooh Classroom and Astro Lab programs. The Slooh Classroom program offers K-12 teachers and students the opportunity to control the telescopes and learn about space in the most tactile and exciting way. Then we've got Slooh Astrolab. That's a similar program, but it's targeted at college classes and students, and we've had some of the best space educators working to create the astrolabs and the lesson plans for both of these programs. So as I say, what a wonderful and tactile way of learning about space. The universe kind of jumps down the telescopes rather than staying on the written page for students. So do check those two new programs out and make sure you tell the world about them, please. Now, one last item we're going to talk about here, which is the About section. Now, if you're on here, you can learn all about Slooh's mission from our founder, Michael Paolucci. You can read recent news, joining the Slooh team under the careers section, and our stores there as well. Take a look. If you haven't read our mission statement from Slooh's founder, Michael Paolucci, then do so, and you'll see exactly what it is that inspires us. Now then, on that very quick run through of that left-hand navigation page, we skipped over one item. So let's head over to the telescope pages. So here it is in the left-hand navigation. The first thing you'll notice is that it's green. It's not always green. It's green when the telescopes are online. So earlier today it was online. It was green because the Canary 5 solar telescope was online today. But now, of course, we can see there all of the little green dots next to the Canary 1, Canary 2, Canary 3, Canary 4 telescopes are all green. That means they're all online. Now, there are three main pages in addition to each of those separate telescope pages, which is where you can kind of watch those live missions. But don't forget, you can watch everyone's missions, not just your own. When the telescopes are online, you'll see all of those nice little green icons appear. You can see there at the moment that Chile 1 is red because it's still daylight in Chile, so that telescope hasn't come online yet. Now let's take another look down. So shall we jump straight through into reserving the telescope? So you could just hit one of these. It's what I did earlier. Let's hop over to the Canary 2. That's directly to one of the telescope pages. Oh, look. Right, that is up in the left-hand side, right-hand side. It looks like the Fireworks Galaxy to me, but it was somebody can tell me that if NGC 6946 is a Fireworks Galaxy, but what's that enormous bright light going through it? Well, Bjorn, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, but you have oh, look at that, the image is just coming into colour. That streak going right through the image is a satellite, an artificial satellite, probably a communication satellite, which is just whizzing through the field of view. So that was I'm going to snap a picture. Sorry, I know I'm digressing, but I'm going to snap a picture of that. Fireworks Galaxy and a satellite in one go. Thank you very much. We'll take some of that. Let's go back. Telescopes, reserve telescopes, before I get lost in the live telescope views. So we've already taken a look at Slooh Recommends, where you can go through the curated best objects, and I'm going to actually schedule the Eskimo Nebula because it is one of my favorites, and all we have to do is press the make reservation button. Up pops the information. I'm just going to add in that this was done during my live cast. You'll see more about that tags and how you can use tags in future sessions in this particular series. But so that's telling me that's going to be tonight. That's going to be in 3 hours time, something like that, just before 3 hours time, and it's going to be on the Canary 4 telescope. Yes, got it, thanks. So that was the very easiest way of setting up a mission to control the telescopes. But let's take a look along here, because we've got three other options. We've got Browse Slooh 500, we've got Reserve by Telescope, and we've got Explore Other Catalogues. Now, the Slooh 500 is a curated list of the best objects in the night sky, and it includes planets, the moon, the sun, galaxies galore, nebulae of just about every single conceivable type, and star clusters containing millions of stars. Basically, if it's worthy, it appears in the Slooh 500. Now, what the best thing about the Slooh 500 is you don't need to know either the best time to see that particular object or the best telescope to use for that particular object. The Slooh system calculates all of that for you. So let's kind of see what happens when we use the Slooh 500 objects. And you can see here the first panel is select category. So this is the first step. Let's click on solar system. You saw a little thing pop up there that it was calculating what's visible and stuff like that. So in the second panel now, we've got choose specific objects. So already the system is showing us what objects are visible tonight. And take a scroll down here, long-time Slooh members, because you can see a bunch of new objects that were only added to the system, the Slooh 500. Today, we've got a whole bunch of minor planets. We've got the first 12 numbered asteroids in the system. So you don't even have to know when an asteroid is going to be visible. Or a comet. We're going to be adding comets as well later. But look here, we've got this particular object here. 32 Phaethon is this peculiar asteroid come comet, which is responsible for the Geminids meteor shower. So that is now added in. So tonight, any of you can go to the Browse Slooh 500, click on that, and then once you've selected that object, by the way, the ones that are shown in grey mean they're not visible tonight. The ones that are shown in bold, they are visible and they are reservable. But as soon as you click on it, bang, you get some object information in the right hand side. Now you can reset the browser, go back to the beginning, or you can schedule a mission just by pressing that button. There we go again. It's giving us a little confirmation, an opportunity to add tags, which I really will cover this in next week's session. It is so powerful when you start to understand how you can use tags to manage your library of thousands upon thousands of beautiful images taken with the Slooh telescopes. You'll realize just how powerful that particular option is. So absolutely, yes, please, I want that particular asteroid 3200 Phaethon scheduled for me. Here we go, Canary 4, and that's going to happen. Oh, that's quite soon. That's in 1 hour, 10 minutes time. So look, Slooh 500 has done exactly what we want it to do. It's scheduled the first available mission when that object is going to be visible using the telescopes that we've said are suitable for that particular object. So you don't have to do anything else, but we are going to go into a little bit more of the information on the advanced ways when you do have to know what you want to book and when you want to book it and which telescope in future weeks. We'll probably cover that next week as well, actually. So you can see here, anyway, back to the Browse Slooh 500. We've got 5 categories here. We've got that solar system one. We've got stars. Now, long-time members, this will be brand new for you as well. Calculating best time. Oh, I was about to take a sip of lubricating fluid then. In fact, I will anyway, because I've been talking too fast. Long-time members will notice, wow, we've suddenly got a whole stack of named stars. Now, there are only a few hundred named stars, but we're including all of those that make up the figures of constellations. And if you don't know what a constellation figure is, it's like a kind of stick drawing. It's not a graphic illustration of, say, Orion there's a mighty hunter, you know, with his spear and stuff like that. It's just the stick figure of a constellation. So what we're doing here is we're allowing you to very easily select. In fact, let's have a look, see what we got here. Pollux is there, so we can select Pollux. That's, don't forget, one of the twins of Gemini. So that's all on message at the moment. Here we go. Tells you exactly what it is. It's the head of one of Gemini's celestial twins. Pollux is the brightest star in Gemini with an apparent magnitude of 1.15 and the 17th brightest in the sky. I haven't actually got, because this is new, having stars in here, I haven't got any images of Pollux. So I'm just showing you once again, the system works. Absolutely, I want an image of that. Thank you very much. I shall watch that one live as well in an hour's time. Right, what else have we got? So we've got star clusters, we've got nebulae, we've got galaxies. Now, nebulae and galaxies can take, I'm going to press this now, because it can take a little bit of time calculating the best time and telescope to populate that middle panel. And that's because it's going through the hundreds of objects in that Browse Slooh 500 to ascertain when they're visible, which telescopes are going to be visible under, and here we've got some great options. Now, Andromeda Galaxy is first in the list there. You can see in brackets it's got M31. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that later. And we've got a whole stack of others. We're going to be doing some smartening up of how this list appears. But if you're new to astronomy and you don't know whether Caldwell 30 is a really cool galaxy to look at, or whether Bode's galaxy is a really good galaxy to look at, the recommendation I give you is go for any object in any of these lists that have an M and a number with them. So there we can see Bode's galaxy is M81, and that stands for Messier 81. Now, Messier was a comet hunter. Charles Messier was a comet hunter, and he kept spotting through his really quite low power telescope a load of objects, galaxies, nebulae. He didn't know what they were, star clusters, that he kept confusing with comets. So he decided to catalogue them so he could rule them out as being comets. So what he actually landed up doing, because he had such a rudimentary telescope, he only actually was able to see the biggest and the brightest objects in the northern hemisphere, which actually means that the Messier catalogue contains 110 of the biggest, brightest, most wonderfully beautiful objects in the night sky. So it doesn't matter whether you're looking for nebulae in here or galaxies in here. If you're starting out, start picking those objects with an M number, and you won't go far wrong with any of those. We'll wait for this one to come up actually, and we'll take a little look, see what it comes up with. Time for another swig. Right, once again, you can see a whole stack of numbers here. But if you want it, by the way, these are all sectioned off as well. So in here, we've got a mission nebulae here. Dr. Paige Godfrey, she's going to cover all the different types of nebulae, but you can see the whole bundle of emission nebulae in there that are visible, all Tarantula Nebula. If you haven't got your own mission set up for the Tarantula Nebula yet, even if you are an arachnophobe, you need to schedule it. It is one of the southern hemisphere gems of the night sky. So it really is beautiful. Anyway, I need to crack on. Reflection nebulae we've got there. We've got dark nebulae, things like the Horsehead Nebulae, planetary nebulae, Camel's Eye, and of course the Eskimo Nebula is in there as well. That's a planetary nebula. Ring Nebula, that's one of my favorites as well. In fact, I'm going to have a Ring Nebula mission. This is a stunning object. It really is. Now, what's this one going to give me? So that's going to schedule me for tomorrow night because it's already set tonight. The Ring Nebulae, and what telescope has it done it on? Canary 4. That gives us a nice close-up view. So there we go. That's the Browse Slooh 500. Now, by the way, at any time you can click the View Reservations button, and it will show you all of the reservations that you've currently got set up. Now let's hop over to the Reserve by Telescope panel. We haven't got long to go. We are going to finish at the top of the hour, so stick with us. I'm just going to take you through this. Now, if you want more control over the time and the specific telescope that you want to control, then Reserve by Telescope is where you want to come to. So I'm going to go from the very top of the page down to the very bottom of the page. And first of all, you've got two options. You can go for the Chile telescopes, and what's showing below is the schedule for the Chile 1 telescope, or you can go to the Canary Islands telescopes. And here you can see we've got 4 major telescopes here. We've got Canary 1, which is what we're on. Canary 2 will show you then the schedule for tonight. For Canary 2, Canary 3, Deep Sky, that's the one that's really good for very, very large objects. Or we've got the Canary 4 solar system telescope, which is great for planets and smaller objects and stars as well. So let's go back to Canary 2, one of my favorite telescopes. I use this all the time. So what we've then got is it's showing us the night of. So this is showing us the schedule for tonight. Now let's scroll down the page, see whether there are any empty missions. So we're going to talk about these ones here with a button here called Piggyback on Mission next week.
But let's scroll down, see if there are any free mission slots. No, well, where are we now? This is only up till midnight now. Oh, Paige has scheduled some of Uranus because she's covering the solar system tonight. Here's a spare slot, the first spare slot. 01:35, which is in about 4 hours time. That's pretty good. Now, if you press one of these buttons here, so don't forget we're in the reserve telescope, reserve by telescope option, you can see that when you've selected popular objects, you get the same kind of view that we had under the Slooh 500. But this one gives us a little bit more control over what happens, because there's the object, there's the object summary. So we have selected that object on the specific telescope we want at the specific time we want. So we can press schedule. No, I'm actually going to cancel that because I want to show you select by catalogue. Now, this one has not just the Messier catalogue, but loads of others. But if you're starting out, start with the Messier catalogue, and you have to know the number. Now, Bode's Galaxy, that was 81, wasn't it? And we know that it's visible, but we press this button. There you go. Good news, Messier 81 is visible at this date and time. But this now has given us yet another option. We're able to select the specific type of processing that happens on your real-time images. So when you're watching your live mission, this is what will happen. Now, I know that M81 is a fairly bright galaxy, so I'm going to select the bright galaxy or comet option. Now, for those advanced users as well, this also affects how many images you get and also how long each exposure is. So we could press that and we can say schedule. I don't want to do that because I don't want to take up much of the mission. We'll leave it open for somebody else. There's one last option in here that I'm not going to show you how to do, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. And in here, this is entering your coordinates. So there's no input by Slooh whatsoever on this. I always tell the people who think that Nibiru is real, I say, go into the Slooh telescopes, use the Slooh telescopes, set up the coordinates for where you think the planet Nibiru is, and nobody can interfere with it. It will go, the telescope will point exactly where you tell it to point, exactly at the time, and it will give you unedited images of that particular point in the sky. Now, this is most useful for members who are monitoring or tracking transitory objects, because the stars and galaxies and nebulae, they always remain at the same celestial coordinates, but asteroids and comets move against the background stars. Therefore, depending on the time, a specific comet or asteroid will be in a different position, be at different coordinates at a different time of the night. So that's when you have to know this, and that's where you'd actually do that. So that's really the last way of scheduling on the reserve by telescope option here. Now, the explore by catalogues, by the way, goes to that same element and gives you a slightly different spin on this. So we could go to Messier this time, enter the designation, check visibility. Yeah, it's visible, and it's going to go off and it's going to schedule at the best time that we want. Once again, I'm just going to cancel that because I don't want to take up another mission slot. So hopefully that hasn't boggled your minds. And don't forget, when you're starting out, start with Slooh Recommends. You will not be let down by the fabulous mission that you'll get of the whatever we're recommending in here, whether or not it's the Orion Nebula, the Gold Dust Cluster. We've got that in here because that once again is in Gemini, and that's what we're focusing on at the moment. Or don't forget, when the Chile Observatory is open tonight, make sure you watch a live mission, maybe your own live mission of the Tarantula Nebula. It is, it's one of my favorite objects. Now, just while we're on this page, I have forgotten to do one thing, which is actually point out what's on the right-hand side of this page. I've got a little box here that tells us my upcoming missions. There's that 32 Phaethon. I am so looking forward to this because this is the first time that we've added objects like this to the Slooh 500. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that comes out. But underneath this is where you want to come to look at your mission control updates. That's what we call them. And it gives you a daily observatory forecast. You can see there for today, the 8th, Canary Islands clear, Chile clear, yay! That's what we want to hear. Weekly observatory forecast, it points you in the direction where that stuff is. If you don't know what UTC is, I'm going to cover some of these things on future live casts, but check this out. Make sure you check the mission control updates, and more's going to be added there in future days as well. Now then, I am going to run out of time here, so I'm just going to check one little thing. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I will do another live cast on Sunday before Helen Avery's show, and we'll go through my pictures there, because what I did want to finish off this hour with is taking a look at the live telescope pages, because we've set up all of our missions, haven't we? But where do you go to look at them if you want to see them live? Well, that is the telescope pages that we were looking at earlier. Now, one page that even some long-time members have not come across on the website is all telescopes. Click this. This is a cool page. Here we go. You can switch between the Chile telescopes, the Canary telescopes. Up at the top, it's showing you the lunar phase tonight. It's giving us a weather satellite image of the Canary Islands. Gives you a little bit of information about the Canary Islands Observatory, 8,000 foot altitude. But here are what we call the telescope cards. And you can see in each one of these, one for each telescope. Canary 1, that's our flagship, our premier system, a mighty half-meter telescope. Goodness me, amateur astronomers around the world kill to use that kind of equipment. And so many of them don't know that all they've got to do is join Slooh, and they can control a mighty half-meter telescope at a world-class observatory site every clear night. What's not to like about that? Anyway, what we're seeing there is a little portal into each live view, and it's telling us the countdown for each one of those missions. It's telling us what it is. Oh, Alpha Kia, Gamma Persei in the constellation of Perseus is in Canary 4. So you can visit the telescope page directly from here, but one of the things you might not know about is, just like baseball cards, we don't have baseball here in the UK, but you've got the same kind of thing, use the flip button. Now, if you want to know more about each of Slooh's telescopes and what they're best at, you can take a look at the flip side of the telescope card. And here you can see all the technical specifications. So if you're a little bit nerdy, shall we say, like me, there's all the information you want right there. If you need to know about the observatory location and stuff like that, you can go in there. Or you can use this to go straight to the telescope page. Now we've got 6 minutes on this, so you can experiment with this, and we'll go over a little bit more on Sunday when I add that extra show in. But here we are on one of the live telescope pages, Canary 2. This great big thing here is the live telescope portal. In here we can zoom around in here into the mission. In fact, it's just hopped over to another mission, which is why it's gone off there. So here we come. The image is slowly coming in now, building from the telescope CCD camera. In it comes. Let's take a look in top right, see what object this is. Current mission, Cocoon Nebula. So that's going to be an interesting one by Peter. Oh, look, you can already see some of the nebulosity coming out. And don't forget, these images, they start off in grayscale and then they turn to color as more and more data is fed from the camera into Slooh's patented technology. But if you just hover over this window, you can zoom in, you can start pulling it around and panning across the sky. You can zoom out, you can change info, you can get rid of the circular box if you want to see the entire frame. Tells you what the time is here, celestial coordinates that it's pointing at. The little counter on the right, that's showing us how much of the mission is left and how many photons are being accumulated in that particular mission, giving us some great information about the object down in the bottom left, telling us it's magnitude 7. Once again, Paige is going to deal with some of those bits of terminology, but this object is 3,900 light years away. It's an emission nebulae in the constellation of Cygnus. And when this pops into color, which might be a bit too late for this show, but hopefully you can carry on watching it, that is going to look pretty special. Now on the right hand side, we've got that information about what that object is. Below it, we're seeing a live sky chart. This is showing us exactly where that object is in the night sky, the little box. So we can see there, it's between Cepheus, actually it's between Cassiopeia and Cygnus, kind of in the Milky Way. Pretty nice. The Milky Way goes right through both of those constellations, which is quite cool. Now, if you see a live image stream that you want to snap a picture of, then all you have to do is press this button. And I have now snapped my own image from that mission. So I want to hang around to do the color version of that. So that's pretty cool. But that has gone to the My Pictures area. One other little thing here that you can press, this is called the Neo view. And this is giving you the live control information, which is going to and from the observatory for your mission, which is controlling the telescopes and the cameras and the filter wheels and everything else. That's quite a cool feature as well. Down below, associated with those objects, that object, look, we're looking at the Cocoon Nebula above, and here we've got some of our community illumination content, these marvelous articles written by different people about specific objects. So while you're watching your live mission, you can learn more about it there. And down the bottom, there's that thing that you can go to. This is where you can view the live all sky camera there. We can see since over the last hour, the constellation of Orion has risen even further, and it still looks like a cracking night in the Canary Islands. So if you have not done so already, you need to schedule your missions. Now you've seen just how easy it is. So I'm going to go back to the circular view there. So we're going to catch up with My Pictures on Sunday evening. Watch out for the time. I'll probably do it an hour before Helen's constellation show, which is all about Gemini, the twins. But for me, that kind of wraps it up for me tonight. But let's see actually what's coming up over the weekend. So we go to live casts and upcoming live casts. That's the show at the moment. We've got Dr. Paige Godfrey's intro to astronomy, and then Gemini, the Celestial Twins with Helen on Sunday night. We've got another intro from Dr. Godfrey's intro to astronomy course, and then we've got our Geminids meteor shower coverage as well next week. Now, that's it for me then. Don't forget, if you got any questions, post them over in the discussions area. Sorry, I haven't been able to get to any other than one of those tonight, but ask them in there. This is going to cover both using Slooh's telescopes, and if you've got any general kind of backyard practical astronomy questions, then make sure you can ask those, and we'll cover any subjects that you want in this series of live casts. So I'll see you next week, actually on Sunday, when we'll delve into My Pictures a little bit and the other different areas of Slooh. And we might also talk about watching some Geminid meteors as well. So that's all from me tonight, but stick around because later on, countdown at the top of the page, will flick over to Dr. Paige Godfrey's Intro to Astronomy course. See you on Sunday.